What would you do on a land carved by the sea, a place where culture has been shaped by nature and music, where mentors are friends and music forms family? Who knows what you will create here? This land will inspire you and challenge your own adventure. We can open the doors, but it is for you to step through.
Greetings, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this info and Q&A session about our undergraduate programs here at the School of Music at Memorial University. We're really delighted that you've chosen to spend your evening or your day with us, depending on what time zone you're in, and to learn more about our programs and ask any questions you might have about them. Before I get into the info session, I want to, as we do at all Music at Memorial events, provide a land acknowledgement. Some of you joining us may be less familiar with this practice, so I thought I'd just give you a few words about why we do this here at Memorial and here in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, indeed in Canada and many places across North America. So land acknowledgement is actually a replication of an Aboriginal practice which predates European contact. It acknowledges the enduring connection for Aboriginal peoples to their lands, to the lands that have been their homelands for centuries and millennia. It also recognizes the shared history, a colonial history, where we all, of different backgrounds now, share the same land together. And finally, and equally importantly, it is a reminder to all of us that we have a shared responsibility to be stewards of this land, to care for this land, and to honor it. So we respectfully acknowledge the territory in which we gather, the territory upon which Memorial University is situated, as the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk, and the island of Newfoundland as the ancestral homelands of the Mi'kmaq and Beothuk. We would also like to recognize the Inuit of Nunatsiavut and Inutukavut and the Innu of Tasinan and their ancestors as the original people of Labrador. We strive for respectful relationships with all the peoples of this province as we search for collective healing and true reconciliation and honor this beautiful land together. Now, before I go into the presentation session, a part of this session, we'll play you another video giving you a day in the life of what it looks like to be a student here at the School of Music of Memorial University. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and it gives you a sense of the flavor of what it's like to be a student here at Memorial University School of Music, a place deeply committed to developing professional musicians across our undergraduate and, of course, our graduate programs, and a place of community where faculty, staff, and students are very much involved in collaborating, cooperating, and partnering with each other along those journeys of learning and development. I didn't say my name at the beginning, but let me say it now for those of you who might not know me. I'm Dean Sutherland, and it is my absolute privilege to be the Dean of this School of Music, one of the very finest schools of music in Canada. Now, I have a PowerPoint presentation that I'll be using to guide us through the presentation or the talk this evening before we get to the Q&A part. The first thing I want to say with regards to the PowerPoint is follow us on our social media channels. So you should be seeing them now. Instagram, we're at Music at Memorial. On Facebook, we're at Music at MUN. And on Twitter, we're at Music at Memorial. So if you don't already follow us on our social channels, do follow us. We share lots of information there for you as undergraduate applicants, but also general information about concerts and events and activities that are happening at the school throughout the year. In giving this presentation, there are a few things I want to highlight. The first thing I'll speak to is the COVID-19 situation here in St. John's, where Memorial University's School of Music is located, as well as in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, and speak a little bit about what we're doing here in terms of maintaining and managing a very effective approach to keeping COVID-19 at bay within the province and in the city. I'll then talk about our programs with respect to our professional programs, mentorship, superb spaces, technology, and our international options. So let me begin with the COVID-19 update. St. John's and the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, very fortunately, is one of the safest places right now in the world to be. There has been virtually no community spread of COVID-19 since April of 2020, so we're 6 months or so since we've had any community spread. There's little to virtually no presence of the virus in St. John's or the province at all, actually. This is because we've had a lot of sound precautionary measures. Here in the province, we have a mandatory mask measure. So if you're in a public building or public space, you need to be wearing a mask. We have physical distancing, as many places, of course, around the world. We're practicing that as well. And we also have a lot of travel restrictions and quarantine requirements. So anybody coming into the province as a visitor from outside what's called the Atlantic bubble, which is the Atlantic provinces, Newfoundland, Labrador, Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia. If you're coming from outside those areas, you have to self-quarantine for 2 weeks upon arrival. Here at the university, we've actually had no cases at any of our Memorial University campuses. We also are maintaining, of course, all the provincial guidelines around health and safety in this pandemic situation. We're also facilitating out-of-province quarantine requirements. So if you're a student returning to Memorial University, we actually have an opportunity for you to be able to quarantine in one of our residence facilities. Here at the university, we also have mandatory masks when you are in the presence of other people in public corridors, transiting areas of the campus or the campuses. We have physical distancing measures, obviously, lots of hand hygiene stations. We have digitally controlled access to buildings so we can monitor density in buildings as well as do contact tracing should that be required. All these things are also true of the School of Music. Within the school, mandatory masks in public areas, and students and faculty are encouraged to wear masks whenever possible. We're also very much focused on contact tracing for monitoring our students coming in and out, so we have controlled access to the building with tap or swipe cards. All of that in place has allowed us to actually have students on campus throughout this fall semester, and we'll have even more students on campus in the winter semester. So in the winter semester, we'll be returning to more in-person applied music instruction, which is really good. In the fall semester, and again, indeed continuing into the winter semester, we'll also be offering a fantastic remote learning opportunity. So those are courses that are being delivered primarily online with synchronous and asynchronous forms of learning. And we're in constant communication with students to understand how that's going and how we can do that better. So all that to say that while the COVID-19 pandemic is a very serious and very, very dire health and safety situation around the world, certainly in Canada and certainly in Newfoundland and Labrador as well, we're managing it quite well here in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, in St. John's and at Memorial University. Let me switch now to our programs. So we have a variety of degree programs. This evening, of course, we're speaking about our undergraduate programs, but I thought I'd just also flag our graduate programs so I can underscore for all of you interested in the undergraduate programs that as an undergraduate student here, you also get to interact with graduate students from around the world right from the very start of your studies with us. So the undergraduate program, we have the Bachelor of Music degree, we have the Bachelor of Music Honors degree, and then we have the joint Bachelor of Music and Bachelor of Business Administration programs. The Bachelor of Music degree is a 4-year program which has a variety of streams, which I'll speak to in a minute. The Bachelor of Music Honors degree is actually exactly the same as the Bachelor of Music degree. The difference is if you finish the Bachelor of Music degree with an 85% or higher average, you automatically also get an honors degree because the degree is so demanding. If you achieve that high academic standing, you'll automatically also get an honors degree. The Joint Bachelor of Music and Bachelor of Business Administration degree is a unique program here at Memorial University, unique in Canada, in integrating a full Bachelor of Music degree where you can do a variety of majors and minors, along with a full Bachelor of Business degree. And those two degrees are integrated, so they speak to each other. They are aligned so that the course progression works to help you develop your business and your music acumen in tandem with each other. And there are also bespoke courses that look at specifically the music industry and how do you build a career in music as a professional musician. At the graduate level, as I said, we have a number of programs as well. A Master of Music program in performance pedagogy and in conducting. We have Master of Arts and PhD programs in ethnomusicology. Now, the areas of study. Across the undergraduate program, we have a variety of options for you. So there's the performance major, there's the composition major, there's the musicology major, and then there's the music and business, the joint degrees program. We also have a brand new jazz studies program, a minor in jazz studies that's available to all Bachelor of Music students. And there's also a general music studies option. So the general music studies option provides the greatest flexibility for Bachelor of Music students that want to explore a variety of different interests in the musical field, but also you might want to do a minor in a discipline outside of music. So for example, if you want to do a Bachelor of Music degree with a minor in psychology or a minor in history or a minor in chemistry, you can do that if you take the general studies option in the Bachelor of Music program. Finally, we also have a stream towards music education. It's called the comprehensive major. And that is intended to provide students with all the learning that you need to enter a music education as a second degree program once you finish your Bachelor of Music. And as I said, at the graduate level, we also have the programs in performance, in pedagogy, conducting, and ethnomusicology. And again, as an undergraduate student, you'd be able to interact with graduate students right from your very start of your program. And these are also programs that you might be interested in the future should you do an undergraduate degree here with us as well. I want to say a few words about faculty, artists, and mentors, really the beating heart of our program in addition to our students. So we have a phenomenal faculty here at the School of Music, faculty artists, scholars, and so on. These are just two of them. So this is Nancy Dawn, violinist, and Timothy Steeves, pianist, and they are teachers, long-standing members of the faculty here. And they also form a very famous violin-piano duo called Duo Concertante, which is Canada's leading violin and piano duo. They've received more accolades than I could possibly list this evening, but just to name a few: Juno Awards, East Coast Music Awards. They're members of the Royal Society of Canada here at Memorial. They're university research professors. And these are two of the individuals that you could be studying with. Certainly if you're a pianist or a violinist, these might be your teachers. This is kind of what mentorship normally looks like here at the School of Music. Now, obviously, under COVID-19, we would be separated out a little bit, not so close in the studio, but this is a pre-COVID-19 picture and a situation that we'll no doubt get back to very soon. So this is Dr. Christina Zuter working with one of her undergraduate students who graduated a few years ago. And this is the kind of close mentorship that we really pride ourselves on here at Memorial University. We actually have the highest level of mentorship in the music program of any school or faculty of music in Canada. So you really get that close personal attention that we know is so important to developing your musical abilities, your artistic abilities, and really fast-tracking you towards your musical career if that's what you end up doing in your life. Not only do we have superb faculty and superb mentorship here, but we have fantastic spaces to study with, one of which I'm actually sitting in right now, Suncor Hall, which I'll speak to in just a moment. But we actually have two concert halls located in the main building of the School of Music. So the School of Music is actually distributed over several buildings at the St. John's campus of Memorial University. Most stuff happens in the M.O. Morgan building. We also have facilities in the Arts and Culture Center as well as the Science building. But here in the School of Music, we're very proud of the D.F. Cook Recital Hall, which you see an image of there. This is a superb space, an acoustic gem for recitals. It seats about 300 audience members. And this is a place that is not just a concert venue, it is also a learning space. So you as a student would be doing master classes here with faculty artists, guest artists. You would be working in ensembles, so your orchestra rehearsals might be in this space. Choir rehearsals would be in this space. You would be performing as a student in this space as well. So particularly our performance majors would be doing their recitals in third and fourth year in that hall, in the D.F. Cook Recital Hall. But as I said, this is only one of 2 concert halls located in the main building of the School of Music. The second is Suncor Energy Hall, which is actually where I'm seated right now. And Suncor Energy Hall is a smaller venue, seats about 120 to 150 audience members. And this hall, again, is also a teaching as well as a performance space. So you'll be doing master classes here, you'll be attending guest lectures here, rehearsals, choirs rehearse here, and so on. And it's a wonderful venue, particularly for chamber music, which is a setting you see there of a student string quartet. So it's a venue that you as a student will be using quite a lot as an undergraduate, or indeed a graduate student of the School of Music. We also have the MMAP Research Center. Now, MMAP stands for Music, Media, and Place. And MMAP is home to our Canada Research Chair in Ethnomusicology, Dr. Harris Berger. And the MMAP Research Center is home to our ethnomusicology graduate programs, but is also a space used by undergraduate students. So we also have a gallery space there where performances happen, guest lectures happen, and other events. The MMAP Center does a variety of things. There's a fantastic speakers series. They do a lot of audio editing and archival work. It's a really phenomenal resource for both our undergraduate and graduate students. Speaking of technology, as you saw in that last picture, we have quite a lot of technology here at the School of Music. It's embedded right in our programs. In fact, we have an electroacoustic research laboratory, one of only a few of these facilities in the entire country. And in that electroacoustic research laboratory, you'll be taking courses in technology, obviously. So digital music composition, for example, is taught in that course. We also have a required Introduction to Music Technology course for all of our undergraduate students, which gives you the basics around a lot of the basic technologies such as notation software, audio recording and editing software, and so on, that you learn right in your first year of studies here. Within the Electroacoustic Research Laboratory, we also do something really cool called digital instrument design. This is headed up by the director of that lab, Dr. Andrew Stanland, who's one of our composition faculty members. And in addition to writing phenomenal music, Andrew also invents digital instruments. What you see on the screen right now is called the Mune, which is a digital haptic interface. Basically, it's a fancy controller for your iPad or your laptop or your iPhone. A physical, very tactile instrument that allows you to control the sounds that would be stored on your computer or your iPad or your iPhone. He's also invented a new instrument, which I don't have a picture of on here this evening, but it's called the Jade, and it will read your brain. It turns your thoughts into sound, which is pretty cool. In addition to technology and fantastic mentorship, we also really focus on career learning here at the School of Music. We have a variety of opportunities. So we have, as I've mentioned, the Bachelor of Music, Bachelor of Business joint program, which is obviously very focused on career learning. Within the Bachelor of Music program, there's also a course called Career Skills for Musicians, which is required for all performance majors, but open to all music students. But in addition to these sort of curricular pieces, we have a lot of extracurricular or career learning opportunities. If you're a singer, which many of you probably are, we have the Opera Roadshow program. So within the Bachelor of Music program, we have, of course, the opera workshop, and that's part of your curriculum if you're particularly a singer. But in addition to that, you can work in the Opera Roadshow, which is an annual touring program that takes live opera across the province, and it has toured also to the other Atlantic provinces, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, and so on. So this is a professional live opera touring program that's open for our undergraduate students, as well as, of course, for our graduate students. We have a very unique program with the province's professional symphony orchestra, so the Newfoundland Symphony Orchestra. If you're an orchestral player, such as a violinist or a violist, you would have the opportunity right from the very beginning of your undergraduate studies to audition for a chair, as we call it, with the Newfoundland Symphony Orchestra. The Chairs program puts you, if you're successful in auditioning, into the symphony orchestra to play with them for a season. So you're learning about how a professional symphony orchestra works from the very inside by being a member of the orchestra. And we also pay you an honorarium to do that. So it's a fantastic learning opportunity. We also have something called the Center for Social Enterprise. So social enterprise is a way of setting up a business or a way of creating businesses that meet a public good. So for example, here in the city of St. John's, we have something called the Stella's Circle, which is an organization that helps individuals that have challenges to fully participating in society. Stella's Circle has something called the Inclusion Choir, which is a non-audition choir for anybody who wants to join or are clients or of Stella's Circle. So that's kind of like a social enterprise. It solves a social problem or tries to contribute to a social problem. Right here at Memorial University, we have a center that helps students set up social enterprises themselves. So there are funding opportunities, mentorship opportunities, learning opportunities through the Center for Social Enterprise. The School of Music is one of 3 founding faculties of this particular center, along with the Faculty of Business as well as the School of Social Work. If you are interested in commercial entrepreneurial activities, we also have a Center for Entrepreneurship that does very similar things to the Center for Social Enterprise in providing funding opportunities. So here you see a bunch of people on the slide that have received a $10,000 check through a social or a entrepreneurship competition. It also provides lots of mentoring opportunities in connection to the business or entrepreneurial community here in the province. So another wonderful opportunity for you. In addition to career learning, we have ensembles in pretty much everything. So, of course, we have an orchestra, the School of Music's orchestra, and the School of Music's orchestra does a lot of its own concerts, obviously, so symphonies and the like. Very recently, the orchestra did a fantastic concert with legendary pianist John Kimura Parker, where he came to play Gershwin with the orchestra, which was absolutely fantastic. The orchestra also interacts very much with the opera program, so the orchestra would often be working with the opera program to do live staged opera each year. We also have a wind ensemble, so if you're a saxophonist, horn player, etc., we have a dedicated wind ensemble for you. We also have chamber and festival choirs for singers, and we have the festival choir is open to all students. Well, both choirs are open to all students, but the festival choir is a non-audition choir, and many first years, of course, would take part in festival choir. And then chamber choir being an auditioned choral ensemble. We have a fantastic percussion ensemble called the Scrunchions, which is a particular Newfoundland term for small bits of fried pork fat that goes with a particular dinner called Jig's Dinner. But the Scrunchions, very active percussion ensemble. We actually have an extraordinarily active and high-performing percussion studio here at Memorial, one of our highlights. We have a jazz ensemble, and as I mentioned, we have a new jazz program, the Jazz Minor, available to all Bachelor of Music students. It's a very active jazz ensemble as well, which plays often here in the school, but also takes part in the vibrant scene of music in the downtown area here in St. John's. We even have a Sudanese gamelan ensemble, so quite a lot of world music, as it's often referred to, happens here at the School of Music, and we have a very deep dedication to increasing the presence and exposure and learning across musical genres for all of our students. And this is just one of the unique aspects of having a Sudanese gamelan ensemble here at the school that you can partake of as an undergraduate student. One of the last things I want to highlight as unique features of our School of Music here at Memorial University are the international studies. So Memorial University actually has a campus in England, and that campus is called Harlow Campus. It's located about 35 or 40 minutes by train outside of London, and every year we offer programs of study for bachelor's as well as master's students in England. Now, of course, this year that program is not running because of the global pandemic situation. But we really hope to get back to that very soon. Basically, you can think about the International Studies program at Harlow Campus as hanging out in London for 4 or 5 weeks. And you attend the English National Opera, you get to hear the London Symphony Orchestra, you go to Shakespeare's Globe Theatre, you attend master classes at a variety of London-based institutions such as the Royal College. And our faculty always do their very best to tailor to each student the opportunities. So if you're a trumpet player, we would get you some master class time, for example, in a trumpet studio in in London. If you're interested in older musics, we'd have a workshop bringing in shawms and so on from the medieval period and so on. So really a very tailored program to our students' interests and needs, and a fantastic opportunity, Memorial being a very unique university in Canada that has such a campus in England. It also gives you, by the way, access to the continent. So our students that go for the Harlow program often also travel to the continent, travel to Paris and Vienna and so on for concerts and, well, to be honest, some fun on the weekends as well. I also want to speak to our alumni success. So what do graduates of our programs end up doing? Well, many of them become, of course, professional musicians. So here you see an image of David Pomeroy. David is one of the world's most sought-after tenors, performing all over the world. Has performed, of course, in places like Carnegie Hall, at the Met in New York, as well as La Scala in Milan, and spends his life touring the world, singing opera in phenomenal halls. Lin Kuo is a violinist. Lin was actually on faculty with us last year as a sabbatical replacement in the violin studio. And Lin is also the assistant concertmaster of the National Ballet Orchestra of Canada, a very fine violin soloist in her own right as well, and makes her living as a musician based in Toronto. Sean Rice, clarinetist, another orchestral musician. So Sean Rice plays with the National Arts Centre Orchestra of Canada, as well as being involved in podcasting and so on. And Sean was also on faculty with us a couple of years ago for a short sort of visiting faculty member stint, which also speaks to our pride in being able to bring our graduates back to be engaged in the teaching and learning environment after they've gone on and forged their professional careers. Andrea Lodge is a pianist. Andrea is based in New York City and is a very involved in contemporary and experimental music, and leads an ensemble called Hypercube. And I've put in the top right-hand corner there Grammy Awards, because Andrea and her ensemble Hypercube were just nominated for a Grammy Award for Contemporary Album of the Year. Stephen Ivany is a trombonist, professional trombonist, soloist and chamber musician, but also a faculty member. So many of our graduates go on to faculty positions in other institutions, and Stephen just took up a new position in California. Becca Sims is a composer. So you can see the breadth now. So opera, violin, trombone, piano, and now composition. Becca Sims is a Toronto-based composer these days, and was named top 30 under 30 in music in Canada very recently. A very, very high achieving composer. I always like to say that even at Memorial University, the Chancellor is a graduate of the School of Music. So the Chancellor of Memorial University, Dr. Susan Dyer-Knight, is a graduate of the School of Music with both a Bachelor of Music and a Bachelor of Music Education from the Faculty of Education here. We're very proud that the Chancellor is also a phenomenal musician, a very highly regarded and respected choral conductor. Then we have, so those are some graduates that have gone on to very much musical careers. Now, not all graduates go on to musical careers. Some graduates go on to careers that I would say are music related, but not specifically as professional musicians in the sense of making music, recording, or composing. Here you see a picture of Jeff Martin, Dr. Jeff Martin. And Jeff is Tonmeister of Bang & Olufsen. Now, that's a company you may know. They make very, very high-end audio equipment, such as headphones and the speakers that you see Jeff sitting between right now. So Jeff went on to study sound engineering, sound technology, after he finished his undergraduate degree in organ performance here at Memorial. And now heads up sort of research and development, Tonmeister, the master of sound for this very, very high quality Danish company. So he lives in Denmark, working for Bang & Olufsen. Then we have a lot of graduates that go on to careers that are not necessarily musically related at all, at least not on the surface. Doug Angel is a graduate of our Bachelor of Music program with a major in piano performance, and he's now a surgeon. I always think it's good to have a pianist as a surgeon. Good fingers, good hands. Doug is specifically an otolaryngologist, so he specializes in surgery, as he would say, from the neck up. It's kind of a ear, nose, and throat specialty, if you know it that way. And he always says that if you're in St. John's and you need surgery on your head, he's likely to do it. Hopefully you won't need surgery on your head, but if you do, you're in good hands with a graduate of the School of Music. It's actually quite normal for graduates for the School of Music to go into medical-related fields and to go off to medical school after they finish their undergraduate degree. Law, for some reason, seems to be another very popular career option that students will take after they finish an undergraduate degree in music. We're also very proud of students that go off to things like public policy. So this is a picture of Michael O'Keefe. Michael graduated a couple of years ago from the Bachelor of Music with a major in performance, actually double major in performance and musicology, and became the Oxford, the Rhodes Scholar for the province of Newfoundland and Labrador in the year he graduated. And he went on to do a master's degree in music at Oxford, as well as a master's degree in public policy, and is now pursuing a PhD at Oxford. So very proud of graduates like Michael as well. Coming towards the end of the presentation now, I want to say a few words about scholarships and then talk about tuition as well. So in terms of scholarships at the School of Music, there are quite a lot. We have 90 at last count undergraduate scholarships. These are scholarships specifically for Bachelor of Music students. So there are other scholarships at Memorial University that we refer to as pan-university scholarships that all music students are also eligible for. But here within the school, we have 90 scholarships that we give directly to music students, which means that over a third of our students are actually on some form of scholarship support directly from the school. These scholarships range in amounts from smaller scholarships in the hundreds of dollars up to scholarships in the thousands and thousands of dollars, some of which cover full tuition for the full study period of your degree. So lots of scholarship opportunities for you. And speaking of scholarships, tuition. So Memorial University is one of the most, if not the most, accessible and affordable universities in Canada. The reason for that is that the university is heavily subsidized by the provincial government. So about 85% of our budget, the university budget, comes directly from the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, the provincial government. That means that we can offer very, very affordable tuition rates to all of our students. You can see the tuition rates there on the screen. So for Newfoundland and Labrador residents, tuition is $2,550 per year. For Canadian residents, it's $3,300 per year. So if you're a Canadian resident but not a Newfoundland and Labrador citizen, then it's $3,300. And for international applicants, it's $11,460. The reason, or the way I often describe this is that it costs us over $20,000 a year, $23,000, $24,000, $25,000 a year to educate an undergraduate student. So we are subsidizing right off the bat your studies by quite a substantial amount. So over $10,000 for international students, and then increasingly so for Canadian residents as well as Newfoundland and Labrador residents. So an extraordinarily affordable university to study it, and it's incredible that you can receive a degree for that kind of tuition as high quality as you get right here at the School of Music, one of the leading music schools in the country of Canada. Deadlines and dates. So the deadline for applying to our Bachelor of Music program, and this is the same for the Bachelor of Music as well as the Bachelor of Business Administration Joint Degrees program. The deadline is January the 15th, 2021, so in a couple of months' time, or about 4 months' time. The application system will open in November, so you'll be able to apply once that system is open, and you can certainly stay in touch with us so we can let you know when the system opens, where you can go in and start your application process. We also have a variety of dates to let you know about in terms of auditions. Now, I will say that these dates are all pending decisions around, of course, the pandemic situation. So in a normal year, here are our audition dates. So distance video auditions, so video submissions, would normally be due on February the 19th. So I put there February 19th, 2021. Normally, we also do live auditions in Toronto, in the province of Ontario, in Halifax in Nova Scotia, and here in St. John's in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. These dates currently are held for this coming winter, for 2021. So in Toronto, we will be doing live auditions on February the 24th. We then go to Halifax for February the 26th. And then the following weekend, March 5th through 6th, we'll be doing live auditions here in St. John's. However, as you can imagine, with the global pandemic, the COVID-19 situation, those live auditions may not happen. So we will let you know as soon as a final decision has been made on that. Every year we have students auditioning by distance, as it were, so submitting videos. So we're perfectly used to, and that's a normal thing for us to have every year. And we recognize that this year we might have to do all auditions that way. But we'll let you know as soon as possible around that. And we'll also let you know around the parameters of how you create a video submission. In fact, later in the fall, probably in November, we'll be offering a workshop, a session on how to craft the very best video submission for an audition for all of you at home. So if you've never done that kind of thing before, we'll talk about how to do a video, how to set up your best sound setup, and so on. So stay tuned on the audition dates and options. We'll let you know as soon as final decisions have been made. In terms of your auditions, what to expect. So your audition includes 4 primary aspects. So there's your performance audition, so your performance on your instrument or voice audition. There's a theory assessment, as well as a sight singing assessment. So those are all required elements. We also have a piano proficiency test. That is optional for the audition period. If you decide not to do the piano proficiency during your audition phase, you would do the piano proficiency once you start as a student, assuming that you made the cut and became a Bachelor of Music student here. But certainly during your audition, you will be doing your obviously your performance audition part, your theory assessment, as well as sight singing, and then piano proficiency is optional. There's lots of information about audition guidelines by instrument on the website, and I put the URL there, so it's mun.ca/music/programs/undergraduate, and you'll find all the information there about the audition requirements for your instrument. We would like to highlight that we really encourage repertoire selections to be diverse. So selections by composers from marginalized and underrepresented groups, really, really important to be seeking out that kind of repertoire, particularly from Black, Indigenous, and people of color composers and artists. In addition, while Bachelor of Music programs focus primarily on classical training, if there's an own choice option for your instrument, feel free to choose a work that's outside of the classical or Western art music field as well. In some cases that's not possible, but the audition guidelines are there. But we really, really encourage you to explore a diverse repertoire by diverse composers and artists. And that ends my presentation talk. I hope you've got some questions for us. We'll get to that. But before we get to a Q&A, we thought we'd give you a little performance. So it's my pleasure to introduce Ben Diamond. This is a pre-recorded performance. Unfortunately, he's not here in the hall. Obviously, we're under our COVID-19 restrictions. We can't have too many people present in this room at the same time. But Ben was so kind to do a pre-recorded performance of a piece called Tuhu by Roland Dyens. And Ben is a Bachelor of Music student here, a 4th-year performance major, so he's now currently in his last year of studies, and I know is preparing lots of auditions for graduate programs. So enjoy this short performance by Ben Diamond, and I'll be back with you after the performance to answer any questions that you might have. So I hope you enjoyed that performance by Ben Diamond, a fantastic young guitarist. We're really proud of him and all of our students here in the Bachelor of Music program. Ben, by the way, placed second runner-up in the Canadian National Music Federation National Festival in the guitar division just last year. So definitely a student, young guitarist, artist that's off to a fantastic start in further studies and a professional career. Now, I would be happy to answer any of your questions. I'm delighted to have, you can't see her because she's sitting off to the left here, but Emma McEachern has joined us. You might have seen her on Instagram. She's done a couple of Instagram takeovers for us, and she's helping moderate the questions. So, Emma's also a Bachelor of Music student and in your 4th year? Excellent.
So our first question comes from Peter, and he asks, when will auditions go on and how do you register?
So auditions will happen in the February-March period. We hope to have a specific deadline set. If we're, for example, not doing live auditions, we'll go with a specific deadline for all distance auditions to be submitted by video, probably around February the 19th or a little bit after that. The application process goes live next month in November, so the portal will be opened early in November, the university portal, and you go into the Memorial University, so mun.ca, and put in your application there, and there's a whole system there that will walk you through all the steps. As you go through that, you just simply answer the questions that are asking. You would specify that you're applying to the School of Music, the Bachelor of Music program, or indeed the Bachelor of Music, Bachelor of Business Administration program, and then that system will walk you through the application process. We will also be very much in touch with you as soon as you have put in your application or started an application. We will know, so we'll be in touch with you. You'll have a Memorial University generated email address. You can also use your own, whatever email address you're comfortable with, and we'll be communicating with you all the time. Annie Corrigan is our academic program administrator, and she heads up the admissions process. So she'll be in touch with you and answer questions and help you out through your application process and walk you through how to prepare for auditions and so on.
So our next question comes from Dominique, and she asks what theory level of RCM is required?
So the best answer to that question is go online to our website, and you can actually take a sample theory test. So if you've done a few levels of theory in RCM, you should be fine. But there is actually a sample test online at that URL that I gave earlier in the PowerPoint. So mun.ca/music/programs/undergraduate, and you can see a sample test there. The test is really just checking for basic theory literacy. So we'll be asking things like identifying intervals, identifying modes, some basic rhythmic questions. There's some dictation there, so in the test you would do a melodic dictation and a rhythmic dictation and so on. It's not hugely challenging, and the test is really a placement test. I would really like to underscore that. If you do not pass the test, it's not that you will automatically not get into the school. If you do not pass the test but are still admitted, it just tells us that we know where to put you in terms of a theory stream. So we have a set of courses that will help you quickly get up to speed with theory knowledge so that you can enter into the regular theory program for Bachelor of Music students as fast as possible.
Dominique also asks, what scholarships do you offer and when do you start applying for them?
Good question on the scholarships. So good news is you don't have to apply for any of the scholarships here at the School of Music. All students that apply are automatically considered for scholarship support. Now you do have to meet the minimum requirements for scholarship standing, which is a 75%, at least a 75% average coming out of high school. That's the minimum requirement just to be considered for scholarships. The vast majority of music applicants are well above a 75% average. So there's no need to apply for music-specific scholarships. Similarly, all students are considered for pan-university scholarships. There are a variety of entrance scholarships depending upon where you're coming from. So for Newfoundland Labrador residents or out-of-province residents, particularly those with a 90% or higher average coming out of high school, you're considered for these larger scholarships that are at the pan-university level as well. So no need to apply for those scholarships. There are probably scholarships, depending on where you're coming from, there are probably scholarships that might be in your own jurisdiction. So for example, other provinces in Canada, or indeed other jurisdictions around the world, may have scholarships for studying in studying music, the things that would be offered, for example, through an arts council in your province that you could apply for. I mean, those are kind of outside of our jurisdiction. They would be things that you would apply for directly yourself. There is a tool online as well to search scholarships, so you can search for scholarships that will be available to you. But again, for the music scholarship specifically, there's no need to apply. All students of scholarship standing are automatically considered, and the amount of scholarship funding that you receive is dependent upon where you fall in terms of your academic average coming out of high school, and very importantly, of course, your scores in your audition, how you're rated by the audition panels when you were performing to get into the school. I should say that we are very grateful to all of our donors and our sponsors that have and continue to support the 90 scholarships we have right here at the School of Music. We can only do that because of the support of a phenomenal community around us.
Billy asks, how will auditions look like thus far for Canadian students outside of Newfoundland?
Well, I mean, I wish I could give a definitive answer to that. I mean, I would love to be able to say we're going to do live auditions as we would normally do them, and travel to Toronto and travel to Halifax and have everybody that wants to come here do them, and here at St. John's. The closer we get to February, the less likely, to be honest, that seems. But as I said, we are very, very used to having distance auditions. So every year we have many students that send in audition videos. So the audition video, I'll just take that as an example, because it would be the same more or less if you were auditioning live. So the audition video would include your repertoire, so that's going to vary depending if you're auditioning on piano or voice or violin or flute or clarinet or whatever. So the audition requirements are a little bit different in terms of repertoire choices. So you would be recording your repertoire, same as you would perform it live in an audition. There will be also technical requirements for most areas except for voice. In fact, all areas except for voice, there are technical requirements, so scales, arpeggios, etc. And for video submissions, we will just ask you to record certain scales or arpeggios or other technical requirements depending upon your area. Sight singing will be done online in real time over Zoom if we're in a remote situation, i.e. not auditioning live. Normally, you would do that in person, obviously with a faculty member, either in Toronto, Halifax, or live here. And the same for the theory placement. Normally, you would do that live, sitting in a classroom here at the school or in Toronto or Halifax, but we'll administer the theory assessment online as well, again, probably using a technology like Zoom. So I can't give you any definitive answers, but that's sort of the gamut. But whether it's distance or live, the same elements are in play.
Lydia asks, will students have a choice between remote and in-person learning?
I hope that we will all be in person come fall 2021. Again, that's totally dependent upon the public health situation at the time. Certainly for I can say for the winter semester that's about to start in a couple of months, students have the option to study in person for their applied studies or to remain remote. So in that sense, we're taking a hybrid approach to learning for the winter semester. That might be the way we're learning in fall 2021, so in roughly a year's time from now, but we don't know. Again, music studies in particular are studies that obviously you would all appreciate. We need to be in person to do a lot of the things normally, so an orchestra rehearsing, a choir rehearsing, that kind of thing, chamber music, etc. But for the winter semester, we'll certainly be in a hybrid situation. Students have the opportunity to choose if they want to return or to engage in those studies here in St. John's. And we'll see where we are come fall. But one thing I can promise you and guarantee you is that we will keep you well informed well in advance. So this past year, we started doing weekly Zoom sessions, and we'll do that again starting in the spring of 2021. So weekly Zoom sessions with all of our incoming students as well as continuing students. So you'll have the opportunity to interact with myself, other faculty members and staff as soon as you're admitted to the school, and we'll be working together to keep everybody updated and make decisions about the fall 2021 semester. But I really do hope that we will be getting back to in-person learning, kind of quote unquote, as normal by fall 2021.
Is there integrated Bachelor of Music with Bachelor of Education program?
That's a good question. So I'm going to presume that the question is around music education. So the Bachelor of Music Education program right now is what we call a second degree program. So what students would be doing is doing their Bachelor of Music degree first. We encourage students to do the comprehensive major, which I mentioned in the presentation, which is a preparatory major for going into music education. But you can go into music education through any of the other majors or minors as well. So you would complete your Bachelor of Music degree, which is a 4-year degree program, and then go into a Bachelor of Music Education as a second degree program. The Bachelor of Music Education program you can complete within a calendar year, or you can complete it over about a year and a half or up to 2 years. It's kind of up to you. So in that sense, it's sort of a 5-year, 5.5 to 6-year progression from the start of your Bachelor of Music through to the completion of your Bachelor of Music Education degree. As I said, if you do a Bachelor of Music General Studies, you can also do a variety of other minors outside of music as well, such as psychology and English and so on. So lots of options to be doing studies in addition to your music-specific studies.
What level of piano do you need to begin the Bachelor of Music program?
That's a very good question. Certainly, if I'm going to assume that the question is being asked by somebody auditioning as a pianist or applying as a pianist. So we recommend here in Canada what's known as Royal Conservatory of Music Level 8 as a guideline, as a minimum level of technical ability that you should be at. What I would say is to all pianists, and I would say this to all applicants actually, once you are in the place of applying, get in touch with us, and we will set you up to discuss your repertoire choices and your application directly with a faculty member in your area. So as a piano applicant, we would put you directly in contact with, for example, Professor Steves or Dr. Zuder to discuss specifically your situation, the kind of repertoire you're thinking, what level you're at. Faculty members typically will also provide a lesson, a conversation with you, be in touch with you, answer questions that might be really studio or area specific. So as a general guideline, as I said, RCM level 8 is the minimum standard, but really get in touch with us across the board in any area, and we'll put you in touch with a faculty member to discuss those things with as well.
A prospective international student asks, what are the opportunities of scholarships and how do we be considered for them? Mm-hmm.
So international students are open or are eligible for all the scholarships that we have here at the music school as well. So we have, of those 90 scholarships, there are a variety of scholarships specifically for entrance or entering first-year students. And then there are some of those scholarships that are for continuing students, second year, third year, fourth year students. And international students are eligible for scholarships just the same as Canadian or Newfoundland and Labrador residents. So again, no need to apply further for scholarships if you're an international student. And quite a number of our international students do, of course, receive scholarship support.
Are you accepting Duolingo test as proof of proficiency in English?
I do believe that those tests are being accepted. However, what I would recommend if you're an international applicant, we very much encourage all of our international applicants to be here. We have a very diverse student body from across the world, across our undergraduate and graduate programs, to get in touch with the Internationalization Office here at Memorial University. So if you just Google Memorial University Internationalization Office, get in touch with them. They will walk you through all the particulars around being an international applicant to Memorial University and then obviously being an international applicant to the School of Music. Those steps are a little bit different depending on where you are in terms of study permits and the process on your end in your country of residence or citizenship. But the best idea is to get in touch with the Internationalization Office, communicate with them directly, and we would be very happy to put you in touch with them if you need any assistance with that.
Can you explain what the lower levels of theory looks like? I.e., would you have to take an extra year to graduate?
That's a really good question. So the short answer, no, you don't have to take an extra year. So let's imagine you apply, you do your audition, you do your theory placement test. The theory placement test on that day does not go so well. You will have an opportunity to take the theory placement test again once you start the program. We offer actually a course during the summertime, so just before your first semester of studies, so the sort of June, July, August period. We offer a course called Music Rudiments for anybody that wants to take it, but it's particularly there for students that need to develop your theory knowledge in preparation for entering the program. So again, with my imaginary exercise, you take the placement test, doesn't go so well, you don't pass. It's not the end of the world. You have the opportunity to take this course, Music Rudiments, over the summer. That should really help you. And then you retake the course on the very first day of classes in the fall semester, so fall 2021, September 2021. If you pass the test, then you automatically go into the regular music theory stream for the Bachelor of Music program, a course called Music 1107, Materials and Techniques of Music 1 is the technical name. If, however, the theory placement test the second time around doesn't go so well, still not the end of the world. You would enter what's called Music 1105, which is Music Rudiments or Fundamentals of Music, and you take two courses, 1105 in the fall, 1106 in the winter. Assuming that you pass those courses with a 75% or higher mark, you automatically then go into the regular theory stream in your second year. That would mean that in your second year, you're doing 1107 and then 1108. Those are the course numbers. And then your third year, you would do 2107, 2108. And in your fourth year, you would do 3105, which is the last course. And you've done them all in 4 years. No harm done.
Emma, a French horn player, asks, is it possible to meet/have a lesson with the professor of our main instrument prior to the start of the fall 2021 term?
Absolutely, 100%. So the most important thing is that you get in touch with us. So email us at musicauditions@mun.ca. Again, once you start the application process, we'll also know because we are obviously notified by the system. But get in touch with us as soon as possible, and we will set you up directly with the faculty member in your area, your applied area, and they will have a chat with you, and many of them will offer you a lesson. Well, obviously all lessons right now in this fall semester would have to be done over Zoom or Skype or some form of video conferencing technology. But yes, absolutely, and that happens every year, and we're really, really happy to be able to provide that close personal contact even before you actually finally apply to the school.
Jessica asks, is there any possible way to combine vocal and psych? I am very interested in both, but unsure of how to go about my education.
Absolutely. So if you do the Bachelor of Music program and do the General Studies major, you can minor in psychology. Within the Bachelor of Music program, no matter what pathway you take, there are a variety of courses that that you need to take. We call them outside or external electives. So while you do a Bachelor of Music degree, in any permutation of the Bachelor of Music degree, there are a number of credit hours in another discipline. Doesn't matter which other discipline, but in another discipline that you need to take. So even if you didn't do the general studies degree with a minor in psychology, you can still take psychology courses. They would count towards those electives, those outside electives in your music degree. But lots of students do want to take a minor in a discipline other than music. Some students are planning to go into education, so to take, for example, the Bachelor of Music Education second degree program, and they'll do a general studies major and take a bunch of courses in another subject such as French, so that once they graduate with their education degree, they're also music teachers as well as, for example, in that case, French teacher. Students will also very strategically use a minor in another discipline to prepare for other fields of endeavor. So a psychology major or a chemistry major or a biology major is often taken by students that are looking to go into medical studies once you graduate from the Bachelor of Music program, to kind of set you up for those kind of studies. Or you do courses in or a minor in political science or history and you go into law, etc. So lots of options. But as a voice major, yeah, you can do the general studies major and do a minor in psychology, no problem.
Peter is wondering if you have any tips for a trombone player looking to apply or any tips for success.
Practice? Yeah, so I'll go back to something I've said, and I will always say lots of because we really like it when this happens. Get in touch with us. So if you're a trombone player, you should really reach out to Dr. Karen Bulmer. who is the head of the Low Brass Studio here. Karen, Dr. Bulmer is also the Associate Dean for Teaching and Learning here at the School of Music. And I know that Dr. Bulmer, Karen, would be delighted to hear from you. We can also set you up to have a conversation with an alumnus like Stephen Ivany that I mentioned in the talk as a fantastic trombonist who went through the program. But I guess, yeah, practice lots. Make sure that you're making really good repertoire choices that fit your skills, your current musical development and so on. So make wise choices with repertoire. If you're not quite so versed with theory, you can certainly try the theory sample test we have online, but you can take some lessons in theory with a music teacher nearby. Or in this online world, you could take theory lessons with anybody in the world virtually. So doing some theory studies is really helpful as well. But I guess it comes back to this idea of getting in touch with us so that we can put you directly in touch with a faculty member in your area so that they can really guide you in your preparations for your audition.
Could you tell us more about the new jazz minor? What does an audition look like? Mm-hmm.
So for the Jazz Studies minor, that is a second audition. You would audition for the Jazz Studies minor at the end of your first year of studies. And the audition would include you preparing some jazz standards to show some knowledge of some of the jazz standards, the heads, the tunes, as well as your current level of improvisational ability in the jazz idiom. And then the minor has a variety of courses. Obviously, you need to be involved in the jazz ensemble. You would be taking jazz combo, so jazz trio, quartet, quintet kind of settings. And then there are a variety of courses in jazz theory and arranging, jazz and blues, academic courses, so history of jazz and blues, and a variety of other courses. So over the course of your minor, there are certain courses you have to take, like being in the jazz ensemble, doing jazz combo, jazz theory and arranging. But then there are a bunch of other courses that you can choose from that fit into that jazz minor program. But it's really a fantastic program. It's going to be headed up by Professor Florian Höfner. Google that guy. He's a faculty member, jazz pianist, Florian, Florian, Höfner, Hoefner, fantastic jazz pianist and composer. And if you're interested in the jazz minor, it would be useful to get in touch with him as well.
Dr. Sutherland, what is it like to live in St. John's?
It's fantastic. St. John's is, so I'm not from St. John's, but I am from the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. So I was born here, I was born on the island of Newfoundland, a small town called Lewisport, which is about 4.5 hours drive west of St. John's. I always think of St. John's as one of the most dynamic, unique, and cool cities in the world. I've lived in, how many countries have I lived in? I've lived in 4 different countries so far. Canada, obviously, is my home country. And I've worked in more than 40 countries globally. So I spent a lot of time in a lot of cities around the world. St. John's is super duper cool. It has a certain edginess, a certain vibe that's really steeped in music, steeped in art, steeped in culture, and quite diverse. So the downtown music scene, for example, has lots of indie music, pop music, folk trad music as well, jazz. I mean, there are different scenes around all these different kinds of musics. It's just, yeah, such a vibrant place. It's also a very, very, very safe city. I mentioned earlier about the safety in terms of COVID-19, or the low risk factor here of COVID-19 because of the lack of community spread. But it's also safe in terms of your security. So a really super safe city to live in. It's a relatively small city. A lot of, so for example, the whole downtown area, which is very charming. It's the oldest city in North America. So it has that very old world, somehow European charm here. The downtown area is very walkable. Fantastic restaurant and bar scene. Just a really enjoyable place to live. I moved back here about 5 years ago to take on this role as Dean of the School of Music. And I spent, prior to that, I was in Europe for 10 or 11 years. And I've not regretted for a moment returning to my home province and returning to what I really consider to be my home city of St. John's. The weather, I mean, fantastic fall, fantastic summer, winter can be a little bit challenging, but what I always say is we have the absolute perfect weather for two things in the wintertime: studying and practicing.
As a violinist, when should I be reaching out to professors to prepare me for music school?
Oh, I would say as soon as possible. So the violin studio is headed up by Dr. Nancy Dawn, who I mentioned earlier as one half of Duo Concertante with Professor Timothy Steeves, who's on the piano faculty here. Yeah, as soon as possible. It's really good, particularly in areas like violin where you're probably already preparing your audition repertoire. So it's really good to get in touch with those faculty as soon as possible. Again, send us an email. We'll put you in touch with the faculty member right away, and they'll get in touch with you. But as a violinist, it's Dr. Nancy Dawn. Her email address is on the website. Well, it's ndawn@mun.ca, ndahn@mun.ca. So pop her an email, or certainly get in touch with us, musicauditions@mun.ca, and we'll put you in touch.
Then that looks like the end of our questions.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Emma, for moderating. Emma, as I said, is a fourth-year student voice performance major. And Emma, what advice would you give to anybody who's applying or auditioning in the coming year?
I would say practice lots. I would say definitely meet up with a professor before your audition, especially on Zoom. You mean no excuse now. And have fun at your audition. Auditions are a really fun process, and it's really important to set up like a good relationship and just have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy the audition process. I remember my audition day. So I should say, I didn't say this earlier. Some of you may know if you're here in the province, but I'm also a graduate of this school. So I did my undergraduate and my master's degree in music here at Memorial University, and I remember my audition day. That was, it was like 6 years ago. I still remember it. I don't know why Emma's laughing right now. Okay, it was 22 years ago, to be perfectly honest. But I do remember it, and yeah, enjoy it. Of course, auditioning is, you feel some anxiety. You feel anxiety because it's an important thing in your lives. It's an important step. But it's a time for you to show what you've done, to meet some fantastic faculty members, and to really take a next step into your musical and learning journey. So really, really do enjoy it. And as Emma said, get in touch with a faculty member so you can get some advice and get connected with them. We will also have a series of events like this coming up over the coming months. So this is just the first of our info and Q&A sessions. We'll have another session on audition prep. We'll have a session with Dr. Bulmer, who will talk about music, mind, and movement and ways to manage anxiety and so on around auditions. We'll have, as we ramp into the audition period, lots of sort of behind-the-scenes opportunities as well. So normally, if you were auditioning in person here in St. John's, we would we'd have a whole day, a couple of days of activities for you. So shadowing a student, attending classes. We'd have some sessions and workshops here in the school for you. We're going to still do all that. We'll pivot probably most of it to online. So I guess to just stay tuned, and we'll be keeping you all updated on all those other ways in the coming months that you're going to be able to get to know the School of Music here at Memorial University, and for us, importantly, to get to know you. So thank you all for joining again. I hope this was informative. Hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed being able to talk to you. We really look forward to hearing from you, to receiving your applications and hearing your auditions. It's one of my most favorite things in the run of the years to go through the audition cycle and the admission cycle, and to bring together and welcome a brand new class of undergraduate students. In the meantime, remember to follow us on our social media channels at Music at Memorial. As Instagram, Facebook is at Music at Mun, and Twitter is at Music at Memorial. And reach out to us. For now, stay safe. Make sure you're washing your hands, wearing your masks, all that stuff. And take care. And look forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye.